Luana didn't know what to expect when she decided to move into that old building in the city center. After a painful divorce and months dealing with loneliness, all she wanted was a quiet place to start over. The apartment was small but cozy. It had a balcony overlooking a tree-lined square where children played during the day and silence reigned at night. For Luana, it was the perfect refuge to rebuild her life. During her first week, as she climbed the stairs carrying boxes, a man appeared to help. He had slightly messy brown hair, expressive eyes, and a smile that carried both kindness and melancholy. "Need a hand?" he asked, picking up one of the boxes. "I'm João, your downstairs neighbor." Luana gratefully accepted the help. In a matter of minutes, they were chatting about small things: the neighborhood, the building, and the quirks of living in such an old place. João was polite and helpful, but there was something about him that caught Luana's attention, an air of sadness, as if he carried an invisible burden. Over the next few days, Luana couldn't help but notice João. He was a constant presence in the building, always courteous, helping neighbors, and willing to solve small issues, like when he fixed her leaky kitchen faucet. At night, Luana often heard classical music coming from his apartment. Sometimes, she also caught muffled sounds of voices as if he were talking to someone, but she never saw anyone entering or leaving his place. Intrigued, Luana began to feel curious about her neighbor. During a casual conversation in the building's laundry room, she asked more about him. "I'm an architect," João said with a shy smile. "And you?" Luana shared about her work as a teacher and mentioned her recent divorce. "Moving here was my way of starting over," she said. João nodded, with a look that seemed to understand exactly how she felt. "I'm trying to start over too," he admitted. That was all he said, but the depth in his voice left Luana intrigued. The two began spending more time together. What started as occasional encounters turned into impromptu dinners and long conversations in the square in front of the building. João had a sensitivity Luana hadn't found in a long time. He spoke about architecture with passion, but always steered the conversation away when it touched on his personal life. One evening, while having dinner at João's apartment, Luana couldn't contain her curiosity. His apartment was decorated with hand-painted canvases, all signed Isabella. Each piece seemed to tell a story, with intertwined scenes of joy and melancholy. "These paintings, they're beautiful. Who is Isabella?" she asked. For a moment, João was silent, his gaze fixed on one of the paintings. "She was my wife," he finally said. "She was an artist, full of life. She turned everything around her into something special. But cancer took her away." Luana felt a lump in her throat. Now she understood the melancholy in João's eyes. He continued, "Moving here was my attempt to start over, to leave behind what I couldn't carry." He stopped, as if the words were too painful to say. Luana held his hand, offering silent comfort. After that night, João began to open up more. He shared stories of the happy years he spent with Isabella, how she inspired him in his career and encouraged him to explore his creativity. But he also spoke of the pain of watching her fall ill and the emptiness that followed her passing. "She was everything to me," he said, "and when she left, I felt like a part of me disappeared too." As João shared his grief, Luana recognized her own. The end of her marriage had left scars, and for a long time, she had blamed herself for the failure of the relationship. Now, with João, she felt she was finally finding someone who understood the weight of her emotions. "Maybe that's what starting over means," she said during one of their conversations. "Finding someone to help carry what seems impossible to bear alone." Their relationship blossomed naturally but not without challenges. João still struggled to let go of the past. There were nights when he would retreat into himself, lost in his memories. In one such instance, he confessed, "Sometimes I feel like moving on would be betraying her." Luana responded gently, "You're not betraying anyone. Moving on is honoring the life you had together by living your own." Over time, João began to change. He returned to working on architectural projects, something he had abandoned since Isabella's death. Inspired by her, he designed a series of projects that combined his passion for architecture and the art she loved. Luana encouraged him, showing him that he could create something new without erasing his past. One day, while helping João reorganize his apartment, Luana found a box filled with old letters and photographs. João showed her an album with happy moments he shared with Isabella. In one of the letters, she had written, "No matter where I am, I want you to live for both of us." That seemed to carry a special weight for him, as if it were a reminder that there was still life ahead. With Luana's support, João decided to exhibit Isabella's paintings in a local gallery. The event was a success, attracting art lovers and providing a symbolic closure for João. He realized he didn't need to forget Isabella to move forward. He could honor her memory while building a new life. Luana, in turn, found the courage to open her heart again. She realized that loving someone didn't mean competing with the past, but accepting that true love makes room for memories. Together, they began creating new stories, proving that new beginnings can be as beautiful as the moments that preceded them. Want to know more about this story and many others we still have to share? Then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every day, a new story comes straight from our mysterious archive, filled with tales and accounts we've gathered from various sources. Cases with stories that will give you chills. Also, don't forget to share this video with that friend of yours who loves a good mystery.